Welcome back, YouTube. So we got our warrior card review here for Showdown in the Badlands. Let's jump right into it. Bombas, Boom Boss, Thogrun, 8-mana 7/7 Battlecry Shuffle 3 TNT into your deck. One draw and blow up a card in an enemy's hand, deck, and battlefield. Here's what the TNT over here looks like. So destroys a random card in your opponent's hand, deck, and battlefield. This is a really cool effect. So it's basically, patchwork times 3, but it's very slow. Now, whether or not, the playstyle for, what I'm kind of gathering from everything that I've seen so far, it's going to be very, very slow. So this card might be great just for the fact that it's going to be very, very slow meta. And this might see play. And I think this is probably not a terrible card. I think it's a really cool effect. But, you just have to have very consistent draw. Man, oh, wow, there's a yawn right there. I think this will be pretty solid. And, there is some decent amount of draw right now. They have Roaring Applause. They have Fire spell that, however much you have stuff's damage on your board, draw 2 cards. It's very possible for, Warrior to actually draw through and draw these here. But, the downside to it is it doesn't deal damage, it just removes stuff. And I don't know. This could be good. It could hit something pretty big. It could hit over that taunt that could give you, lethal. I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5. I don't think it's gonna be broken just yet, but I think when all the other sets kind of rotate out and there's a little bit less cards in the format, this card might see some play. 3 out of 5. Up next is Slogma the Slumbering. It's 4 mana, 16/16, Elemental Beast, Rush, Taunt, Dormant for 8 turns, Excavate to Awaken 2 turns sooner. I don't even know. We talked about this a little bit on stream before. This is another card that's getting a signature, which is really cool, but the fact that it does cost 4 mana is actually kind of crazy. Drop it down turn 4, it's got taunt, so it plays in all the other taunt support that we're getting later down in this video. And it's Elemental and Beast. And I mean, if you think about it, you could Black Rock and Roll and like Lothamar this guy here. And the stats are gonna be insane. It just sits on the board. The only downside is it doesn't charge, it just has rush. So the moment it does come alive, it just rushes in. But if you think about it, if you could like play on turn 4 and then on turn 5 you play like 2 or 3 Excavate effects, this will be able to awaken in like what 2 to 4 turns maybe, depending if you're lucky or not. Not completely bad, but there's a lot of really cheap removal by the time this is going to be coming alive. I think this is a 1 out of 5, honestly. I think the few times that you're able to get this stick off, it might just be, game ending, but the fact that almost every single deck has a way to deal with a 16/16 without a problem, just, removing it from the game, guaranteeing, like, dealing exactly the amount of HP it has or whatever, or just, like, dealing damage yourself to kill it. Like, there's just so many removal spells. This card probably just won't see any play. If it had charge, I think this card would be a little bit more scary, but since it doesn't, it's a 1 out of 5 for me. This might see play. I just can't see how this is going to be as consistent as what I could imagine, Up next is Misfire, 2 mana spell, deal 3, 2, and 1 damage to random minions. Oh, to random minions. Quick draw, choose the targets. Okay. So if you don't top deck this, or you don't play it the turn you draw it, this could hit your own stuff, which is kind of bad. But the fact that it's very cheap and the fact that you could easily play this on the turn you draw it and guarantee you killing stuff that you want to kill, it's not completely bad. Man, I think I'm a little too tired. I think it's not terrible. Since it's such a cheap removal spell, I think Warriors are gonna love this quite a bit. The fact that a lot of the removal stuff starts after turn 4, and even like with Sanitize, for example, you have, or I guess it costs 5 now, doesn't it? You'd still have to forge it to gain 3 armor and deal 3 to everything, and this kind of does the same thing. I mean, it doesn't deal 3 damage to everything, but you get to pick it, and I don't think it's too hard to get this effect to go off. Of course, you top deck it and you don't have mana for it, it's kind of bad, or you starts in your opening hand, but there's gonna be, I think, a lot of times when Warrior doesn't have a lot of stuff on the board that they can just play this and it's guaranteed to, at least wipe their board. I'll give it 3 out of 5. It's not completely bad. Up next is Badlands Brawler. 7 mana 4/4 Battlecry Starter Brawl. If you've excavated twice, this always wins. So this is a board removal that guarantees that it stays alive. I love that effect. This is pretty cool. And I think, the fact that, this card might just make a deck with Slugmaw just a little bit better in it. But, the fact to it, I don't think Slugmaw's gonna be too great, but this card's great. I don't give this 4 out of 5. I think the fact that you're guaranteed to just only have to excavate twice to get this effect to go off is pretty great. And there's a lot of neutral excavate effects on top of what we're getting in Warrior as well. That's gonna be pretty easy to make this effect go off. And you can also run Brawl on top of this guy. So, now you have to worry about warriors having 4 brawls, 2 sanitizes, and on top of a Yogg. Like, it's going to be crazy. I think there's going to be some type of like crazy control style warrior that's going to come from this, and it's going to be pretty annoying to deal with. But 4 out of 5, I think this is going to be pretty cool. Curious to see how this effect looks when it comes to like the brawl. Maybe it's just a copy and paste for the brawl animation, but it'd be kind of cool if I had a different one. Up next is Blast Tortoise, 6 mana, 2/7. Taunt, Beast, Battlecry, deal damage to all enemy minions equal to this minion's attack. It's a really cool effect because a lot of the other taunt stuff has a lot of like buffing effects and kind of like plays in with the Armadilron or however you pronounce that guy. Let me check actually. Where is it at? Armadillo. Oh, Armadillo. I don't know how to pronounce it. But it's a 6 mana 4/8 beast. At the end of your turn, give all top minions in your hand +2/+2. So this easily goes up to what? 4/9. And if that sticks on the board for a while, it busts it up. There's also some other stuff that we talk about here. Um, this guy right here, Unlucky Powder Man, 2 mana 2/2. Taunt Death Roll, give top minions in your hand and deck +1/+1. So this already goes up to. Oh, wait, that went in the wrong way. To a 3/8. So like the chances of this being very consistent is up there with it. And on top of that other one, this guy right here, give top minions in your hand +2/+2, and this is a battle cry effect for 5 mana. Also has taunt, so like I think all this kind of plays together pretty solid. And the fact that all you're doing is playing it, it's buffing up your future stuff. This is going to be kind of like a temple warrior type style. The fact that this just kind of nukes the board, it doesn't even kill your stuff, it just only nukes their board. Top of it, the artwork is awesome. This guy looks so serious with a stick of dynamite in his mouth. That's so cool. I can see this being another board clear. Like you don't even probably have to run brawl anymore. You just run this and you run the badlands brawler with it, and you play some excavate stuff, and then you have this little taunt package with it. And there's also other cards. There's last stand, draws a top minion from your deck, double its stats. There's so many other things that like the taunt stuff is finally getting that like recognition now with all these cards. I think it's going to be pretty solid. I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 5. Blast charge, destroying a damaged enemy minion, excavated treasure. I think this is pretty good. Just 3 mana. It kind of reminds me of the that other way back when we had the combo one that was like combo or whatever, destroy a damaged minion, or maybe like same effect, but then if it was a combo, it would destroy it without that cost. Reminds me of this, but the fact you get a treasure, it's not bad. I'd say it's probably 3 out of 5 in my opinion. But I don't know if it's gonna be like gonna have to play on top of like having shield slam as an option. Even execute's probably just better because it costs 1 now. But you do get a treasure, and we'll just go ahead and jump to the treasure here, the Azurite Ox, 4 mana 5/5. Battlecry, discover 2 cost minions, or 2 8 cost minions and summon them. So you could get guaranteed to get yourself Gromish off of it. You could get, any other 8 cost guy. Now let me just kind of double check this and see. See, it's not, let's see, 2 6 cost minions, summon them. So it doesn't matter the 8 cost guy, right? So if we go here, there's Gromish. For warriors, probably the only one that's like mildly good. There's Kolgarn, Mishmasher, Ragnaros. I guess Thunderbringer is kind of interesting because it summons up an elemental and a beast, so it could summon up the other taunt guys because they have a beast. And we just go to Death Knight. Cage Head's an option, right? Um, I don't think it sums up Titans at all, so we don't have to really worry about the Death Knight Titan. Iliari Inquisitor, the 8/8 with Rush after your hero attacks. This attacks too. Like you can get that off of it, and I mean, Warrior got a new weapon too. There's what Crypt Keeper and Celestia of the Fake Ward, the taunt that draws a minion from your deck and reduces it by 8. Hunter, there's not really anything notable there. Mage, I guess. Well, yeah, I don't know if we get Colossal minion from it, but like Gaia's an option, I guess. Tyrion's an option. Um, let's see, there's nothing for Priest. And Rogue, there's just a pirate there. Let's see, and then Shaman. I guess you get Alucard from it. You can get some Wind Fury effects. You get the Berserker guy, the Taunt Life Stealer Born. That's kind of big, honestly. I don't know how consistent this Azurite Ox is going to be, but like there's some pretty good 8/8s, like the Enhanced Dreadlord. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm not too opposed to it, honestly. It's not going to be too bad, I don't think. But you do have to excavate, what, 4 times to guarantee this guy, and so that might be just enough of a swing, make an impact on it. So, it's not completely bad. But we already talked about this one. 2 mana 2/2 taunt. It's undead. Death Roll, give minions in your or taunt minions in your hand and deck +1/+1. You play 2 of these, so it's a 2/2 buff to everything that no matter what. It's not bad. That's a pretty solid card. Also, the artwork's pretty cool. I do like how all the theme are kind of based around dynamite for all the warlock cards or warlock warrior cards. Um, I like this quite a bit, and it does think that it is a death rattle effect, so it can be silence, it could be sharded art, it could be deafened, it could be whatever. So that's always kind of like the downside to it, but I think it's pretty consistent. It's really cheap early game stuff that warrior could just play, and it will slowly build up your deck, your hand, and every time you play a minion, it's gonna be bigger than the last one. And so I think it's gonna be good. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. And we already talked about this one taunt battle cry. Give your taunt minions +2/+2, and it's mech. Not bad. It's also gonna be getting buffed from this if if you curve out really well. So it's gonna be a potentially what a 3/7 or a 5/8. It's not bad for 5 mana on top of buffing up your stuff even more. It's not bad. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. Uh, Battle Pickaxe, 3 mana for 1. After you play a taunt minion, gain +1 durability. Now I don't really know how I feel about this. The fact that it does start off with 1 durability, and sometimes when you're playing this, you want to swing with a weapon if you're wanting to play the weapon. But there is a lot of cheap options. That's pretty cheap. I guess technically that's a taunt that's cheap. And so, you can probably get this thing to go up pretty high and kind of always have, in a way, infinite damage. But it doesn't do anything else but gain durability for each swing. So I think that's just going to get outclassed by any of the other weapons, like the one that gains armor and all that other stuff. And so it's not completely bad. I'll give it a 2 out of 5. I don't think it's going to be too meta defining or breaking. And you might run one in the taunt list, and you probably are going to be swapping it off for a different weapon that's going to be a little bit more impactful to the board and to the game state rather than this just kind of sitting in you know, on your charge or whatever, on your here or whatever you want to call it. So 2 out of 5. Reinforced plating, 3 mana, gain 6 armor, excavated treasure. So it's kind of like like shield block for an extra mana that also gains you some, random treasure. And it could be the Ox, and you could be, following it up with a potential, 4/5 with 2/8/8s. I don't think it's too bad. I do think it's missing the fact that it could be drawing a card off of it, like kind of what Shield Block does. But you know, the other treasures here, you have all these ones right here. Um, I guess technically this one does draw a card here, so you do have like some tempo gain from it as well. Not a bad card. I think they're just gonna run Shield Block over this card in anyhow. The 5 armor and drawing a card is for less mana too. I think it's just a worse version of that. But down to the fact that you could be getting like some of these really high impactful, you know, treasures is always something kind of or to be kind of aware of. But overall, I think all the warrior stuff is not too bad. I definitely think the whole taunt stuff is pretty interesting. I do like the Badlands Brawler quite a bit. I think Misfire is great. Boomboss Thoke Run is not gonna be too bad, I don't think. But let me know down in the comments what you guys feel or how you guys feel about the warrior stuff and whether or not this stuff's gonna be good. I think I'm leaning more towards the taunt package rather than the whole excavate and whatever this guy is kind of offering here. I think the taunt stuff's gonna be pretty solid. But let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Don't forget to like and subscribe.